Welcome to Pasadena Monthly. I'm your host, Justin Chapman. After taking a look at what's been going on in Pasadena this past month, we'll speak with our guest, Tom Coston, president of the Lightbringer Project and czar of the Doodah Parade. But before we get started, let's check out these Pasadena media news briefs.
The Eaton fire has devastated many small businesses throughout Altadena, leaving owners facing significant challenges as they work to recover, relocate, and reopen. In response, the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce Foundation is actively raising funds to provide much-needed mini-grants to these affected businesses. These grants will help cover essential expenses such as purchasing computers and office equipment, installing phone and internet services, sanitizing and preparing new spaces, and addressing other urgent costs necessary to get their doors open again. Your donation can make a meaningful impact. By contributing, you directly support Altadena's small business owners in replacing critical equipment, establishing new workspaces, and restarting their operations. Now more than ever, it's important to stand with our neighbors in Altadena as they rebuild their livelihoods and restore economic vitality in the aftermath of the Eaton fire. Together, we can help bring hope and renewal to this resilient community. For questions, contact Paul Little at paul@pasadena-chamber.org.
The City of Pasadena has released a draft of its 2025 Local Hazard Mitigation Plan, or LHMP, which outlines strategies to reduce the risks posed by both natural and human-caused disasters, including earthquakes, wildfires, and flooding. The plan assesses potential impacts on the community and proposes long-term efforts to protect human life, property, and infrastructure, while also ensuring the city remains eligible for future federal mitigation funding. By participating in the review process, you can help refine the strategies and actions outlined in the plan, making sure they are practical, inclusive, and tailored to Pasadena's specific needs. Community members are invited to take part in a feedback survey on the draft. To access the feedback survey, visit bit.ly/LHMP survey. For questions or comments, contact Pasadena Emergency Services Manager Nayeli Procopio at preparedpasadena@cityofpasadena.net. The newly updated 2025 LHMP is available at bit.ly/Local Hazard Mitigation Plan 2025.
Let's turn next to our lightning round of news updates. 1. The city of Pasadena joined LA and several other cities in a lawsuit against the federal government, and U.S. District Judge Frimpong ruled in their favor with a temporary restraining order. She halted roving federal immigration detention stops without reasonable suspicion and barred immigration agents from using factors such as race, ethnicity, language, or place of employment to detain people. The court found that federal immigration enforcement officials engaged in unlawful detentions without reasonable suspicion and violated the Constitution when they seized a number of people across Southern California, including 3 from Pasadena. The city of Pasadena released a statement saying the ruling, quote, affirms that the United States Constitution protects the fundamental rights of all people, end quote. The Trump administration filed an emergency motion to stay the judge's ruling pending appeal. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has yet to rule on the stay. Also, the Pasadena City Council voted to support Senate Bill 627, which would prohibit law enforcement officers from wearing masks while interacting with the public, with some exceptions. And the council voted to allocate $100,000 in seed funding for an immigrant assistance fund administered in partnership with the Pasadena Community Foundation that will support local residents impacted by the recent federal immigration raids. 2. Shortly after the Pasadena Unified School District Board of Education approved its fiscal year 2025-26 budget and its fiscal stabilization plan, the U.S. Department of Education froze more than $6.8 billion in federal funding for education across the country, $900 million of which was dedicated to California schools and $1.2 million of which will not reach PUSD as expected. The freeze will negatively affect programs for teacher training, English learners, and immigrant students. PUSD Superintendent Dr. Elizabeth Blanco called on the federal government to honor its promise. The fiscal stabilization plan includes $83 million in potential cuts and reductions over 3 years, including a reduction of 120 full-time employees and of contributions to special education, among other things. The district is also considering what to do with the long-vacant Linda Vista campus to help its financial challenges. The Linda Vista Annandale Association is hosting a town hall this Thursday, July 31st at 6 p.m. at Brookside's Mediterranean Room to discuss what residents would like to see happen to that campus. 3, the City Council moved forward with developing a 2-year rate plan as part of an electric rate study to evaluate Pasadena Water and Power's future costs as it begins to shift to 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030, as mandated by the Council. Electric rates are expected to increase, but the amount is yet to be determined. The Council also approved a nearly $44 million contract to replace over 200,000 feet of underground power transmission cables between the Glenarm and Santa Anita receiving stations. 4, City Council also voted to lower the threshold for quorum for council committees, such as Public Safety, Finance, Municipal Services, or EdTech. Previously, 3 council members had to be present to achieve a quorum. Otherwise, the meeting would be canceled. Now, just 2 council members are needed, meaning more meetings should be moving forward. The new rule took effect this week. 5, a new village post office in Altadena opened this month at Webster's Community Pharmacy at 2333 Lake Avenue, more than 6 months after the Altadena post office burned down in the Eaton fire. The new post office offers mail drop-offs, prepaid box services, stamp sales, and flat-rate mailing supplies. This was a critical step on the slow path to recovery. Also, LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger is calling for the creation of a rebuilding authority focused exclusively on Altadena that would feature local control, interagency coordination, and cost-conscious rebuilding without new taxes. 6, the Pasadena Rental Housing Board elected new leadership. Tenant Allison Henry was selected as chair, and landlord Lourdes Gonzalez was selected as vice chair. Henry will serve through May 2029, and Gonzalez will serve through May 2027. They replaced Ryan Bell and Brandon Lamar, respectively, who will both continue to serve on the board through May 2027. 7, arrests have finally been made in the 2021 fatal shooting of a 13-year-old named Iran Moreno in Pasadena. Moreno was playing video games in his bedroom on North Raymond Avenue on November 20th, 2021, when a shooting occurred across the street. A bullet went through the window and killed him, though prosecutors say he was not the intended target. Some leads on the suspects came through very recently, after years of no outward movement on the case, until July 11th, when Pasadena police arrested 38-year-old Muhammad Abdul Malik in Orlando, Florida, with assistance from the U.S. Marshals, Pacific Southwest, and Florida Caribbean Regional Fugitive Task Forces, and the Orange County Sheriff's Office in Florida. And then on July 16th, when Pasadena police and U.S. Marshals arrested 31-year-old Tereja Flemings in San Fernando. Prosecutors said Abdul Malik fired the shot and Flemings drove the getaway car. Anyone with information on the case is urged to contact Pasadena police. 8, City Council voted to approve a $3.4 million contract expansion amendment with Gruen Associates, the architectural and engineering firm that is designing the seismic retrofit and renovation of the Pasadena Central Library. Gruen has completed 90% of its tasks so far, including plans for seismic strengthening, historic preservation, accessibility upgrades, and system overhauls covering HVAC, fire safety, and roofing. The amended contract covers constructability and cost review coordination, overseeing construction administration and project closeout, and more, and is funded in part by Measure PL, the $195 million bond measure approved overwhelmingly by Pasadena voters last year. The library is still expected to reopen by 2028. The Council also approved a $1.6 million contract for preliminary engineering and design of the seismic retrofitting of the San Rafael Bridge. The first phase of that project will take about 2 years. 9, the USC Annenberg Center on Communication Leadership and Policy, where I used to work, has launched the Wildfire Youth Media Initiative, a unique project empowering high school journalists to document stories of loss, survival, and community resilience in response to the devastating wildfires that have impacted neighborhoods across LA County. The initiative invites members of the public to participate in 2 upcoming wildfire community listening sessions, including one at the Pasadena Playhouse tomorrow, July 26. I encourage you to learn more about it at communicationleadership.usc.edu and attend tomorrow's event from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And 10, the mayor of Guanajuato, Mexico, Samantha Smith, sent an official invitation to all Pasadena City Council members to visit her beautiful city in October and November during the International Serpentine Festival, a major arts and culture festival that is the equivalent of the Rose Parade in Pasadena. Guanajuato is a UNESCO World Heritage Site founded in 1554. The city played a crucial role in Mexico's struggle for independence and is a hub for art, culture, education, science, tourism. Smith wrote, quote, "I am convinced that now more than ever, given the situation in the United States and around the world, it is essential for local governments to send a clear message of peace, unity, and mutual understanding among nations." Let's welcome our guest, Tom Coston, president of the Lightbringer Project. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Justin.
The Lightbringer Project is a Pasadena-based arts nonprofit founded in 1990 that builds communities through the power of the arts and education, produces the Doodah Parade, the Pasadena Chalk Festival, Lit Fest, and many other iconic Pasadena events. Tom has also held leadership positions on the boards of many high-profile nonprofit organizations, including Day One, Leadership Pasadena, Arroyo Seco Foundation, the Institute for Urban Research and Development, and many others. So Tom, what is the Lightbringer Project? What does it do?
Yeah, well, Lightbringer Project is essentially an arts education organization, a nonprofit, and we work very closely with our public school system. And we deliver what we call work-based learning within our school system and service the art academies at 3 different high schools in Pasadena and help them create career pathways that take them from where they are in their classroom to the next step, post-secondary, college or vocational training, and hopefully into the creative disciplines that they aspire to. So there's students who are sitting in our art academies in Pasadena. And we also do a number of other programs. We have an after-school program at elementary, middle, and high schools in Pasadena called Room 13, which is where students can create their own art projects under the guidance of a community artist who doesn't really teach them art, but helps them with technique and talks about what they're doing. And it's a student-driven program, which is really exciting. And it's actually located around the world. There's studios, not our studios, but there's studios around the world. It began in Scotland in 1994, and we were the first ones to bring it into America, to our own school district. So we do that program, and we bring artists into the classroom and professionals, creative professionals from many disciplines to introduce what they do to students. And in doing that, we don't bring people who they never would meet in their life. They're usually creative professionals that have sat where the kids have sat.
Right.
So they're from the same neighborhoods, the same cultural backgrounds, and they know what it was like to be there. And they try to basically inspire the students and motivate them to, if you really have an interest and you want to do this, this is the way to get there. And so we bring mentors into the classroom in all of our high schools, and there's many other programs that we do that are kind of sometimes a one-off. We try to keep ourselves nimble and small enough that we can decide to do a project next month if somebody came forward with something.
Right.
And that's happened a lot. Most of our programs have happened like that. So we try to avoid too much long-range planning and being bureaucratic in evolving our arts projects for the students.
Great. And what's the Omega Sci-Fi Project?
That's really interesting because it's a sci-fi writers project, and that's delivered in Pasadena and throughout Los Angeles County. And we actually deliver it in 14 different schools. They're all senior high schools, and we deliver workshops where we talk to students about things that relate to science fiction in the sense of triggering their imaginations to think about solving world problems. A lot of it may be focused on things like the ecology or the kind of things that Octavia Butler was really interested in. We actually do it there at Octavia Butler Magnet as well. And there at the end of the program, the students write and submit and are involved in a competition. And then we have celebrities from television, many of them from Star Trek and other kinds of shows like that, actually read their short stories to them and their parents and teachers. And we do it at Romans in Pasadena. And it's so golden, that program, to watch, parents next to their kids listen to somebody they've seen on television read their kid's story. So that's a very special program. It's kind of part of our literary suite, which ultimately includes our public event, Lit Fest in Ladina.
Yeah, great. And you recently wrapped up another Chalk Fest
Yes,
last month.
we did.
Back at Paseo after being across the street at the what's the future for the Chalk Fest?
Well, it never will go away. It's a love mark in Pasadena, and it grows every year. We had actually more artists in it this year than ever before. So every year there's more and more. I think we crossed the line of 500 visual artists. So they work solo, they work in teams of 2, 3, or 4. And so they come in and out and work together to create a mural that's about 10 feet by 10 feet on anything they want. we encourage them to join other chalk festivals, so they've gotten literally virtuosic. It's something you have to really practice.
Right.
It's a difficult art form.
Yeah, for sure.
So we think back, this festival started in 1993 with 125 artists in front of City Hall with just blazing heat. The pavement was really hot, the reflective surface of City Hall. And we thought they'd never come back again. And here we are, and I think we're like in our 35th year. And next year is a special year because we're celebrating Route 66
Oh, right.
and the anniversary of Colorado Boulevard. So we're going to extend the festival from the Civic Auditorium to the Paseo and then up Garfield Avenue towards City Hall. So we're imagining more and more artists, but people just love it. You can bring your families and actually see how artists work and what they do and talk to them.
Yeah, it's incredible, some of the images that they draw. And then, of course, another iconic Pasadena event, Lit Fest in the Dina, as you mentioned, sort of Pasadena's version of LA Times Festival of Books with a local focus.
Yeah, it really is.
And, I'm honored to have participated in a number of
That's
Lit
right,
Fest
you were there.
panels and events over the years, including this year. But this year almost got canceled, or it was supposed to be at the Mountain View Mausoleum, but because of the fire, had to find a new location, which you did, thankfully. What's the future hold for Lit Fest?
We're really very, very excited about it. We think we bring together about 180 authors and poets and journalists such as yourself and other people for panels, workshops, and readings. And essentially, we see it as a big conversation with the community. And we really want to build and expand it. So we're thinking about doing little kind of satellite events around it leading up to Lit Fest. So we might do things in different library branches, panel discussions on different topics, and then kind of coalesce it all for the big celebration at the festival. So, and Lit Fest is really, we think of it as, it's for writers, by writers, for book lovers, and engaging in conversation. So we're less of a selling event than the big mothership at USC.
Right.
But we'd like to grow it, and we think that there's a lot to do. We think we're sad. We had hoped we'd actually be at the mausoleum because of the wildfire crisis. That might have been a nice coming together.
Yeah.
And but the mausoleum, while it took no external damage, was just, there's so much soot and disrepair inside that happened, and the Army Corps of Engineers occupied it, and the rest is history. But it was kind of nice at the Pasadena Presbyterian Church.
Yeah,
they're
it
very
worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. Very ample for something like this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's amazing how many local authors there are in Pasadena, San Gabriel Valley. It serves that need for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk Doodah. So the parade is essentially the satirical alternative to the Rose Parade. The operating principle is fun, of course. And it started in 1978, I believe.
It did. It started in 1978.
Tell us a little bit about the history, who started it, and how you got involved.
Well, okay, it's a couple of funny stories, as it should be. It did not start in a serious architectural drafting board.
Right.
So in 1978, well, first of all, I'll start with there's an ordinance, a city ordinance that says the Rose Parade, if New Year's Day falls on a Sunday, there can be no Rose Parade. It doesn't say any other kind of parade. And everybody thinks it's because of the day of rest, and it shouldn't be a day of, of excitement and parading for people when they should be in church. But actually the reason was, when they had that ordinance, was because the church bells pealed and the horses would stampede. So they were afraid of that.
Right.
The parade would go into, disarray. So they created the ordinance, and then there was a bar located at, I think it's 142 Colorado Boulevard. It was called Chromo's, and it was an old beer tavern where some of Pasadena's legacy bands like Snotty Scotty and the Hankies played always on Saturday night. And a bunch of guys were standing around. It sounds like a joke. 3 guys were standing at a bar. Literally 3 guys were standing at a bar. And somebody said, there's no Rose Parade on the 1st. So then somebody else said, let's have our own parade. And a lot of people think that the parade was begun just kind of as a sarcasm against the turn of roses. It really wasn't. The idea then, I've talked to those people who were there, they said, we were just thinking, wouldn't it be fun to just go out and show how artistic and creative we really are and get wacky in the street? And we'll kind of make it a party situation.
Yeah.
So one of them His name was Peter Apanel, went down to City Hall and filed a permit application, and somebody who probably maybe wasn't there too much longer okayed it and rubber stamped it. Oh, yes, you can have the parade, sure, and pay the permit fee, which probably wasn't too much. So the first parade took place on January 1st, 1978, with about a couple hundred marchers. And you have to understand that there was people from out of town on the street
Right.
sitting there thinking, we came here for this? Like, is this part of it? It's like some pre-parade celebration. It didn't bode well for the actual Rose Parade the next day, because the streets were full, and that's what was fun about it. The Dude, it was a built-in parade, turnkey parade. So they never imagined it would happen again. And so here we are. I think it's in its going to be its 45th, 46th year.
Wow.
And sometimes some of the numbers are actually even wrong, where they, along the way, counted the number wrong. So you can't go by whatever even we say about it, because there's great arguments about what year it actually is. Some years it didn't happen. One year there was 2. But how we acquired the parade, we were at the YWCA building in Pasadena. God bless the Y. It was a wonderful building, which is now defunct.
Yeah.
And Peter Apanel, who is the self-proclaimed czar of the Pasadena Doodah Parade, he actually made his living doing the parade.
Oh, wow.
And not much.
Right.
It doesn't make you rich.
Sure.
And he had an office directly across from us. And he was always getting really mad at the city at the time. Around early 90s, the city of Pasadena did not care for the Doodah Parade. The police department wasn't super friendly. And the Tournament of Roses said, if you're in the Doodah Parade, you will never be in the Tournament of Roses. And that only affected one person, Jan of Sweden, who quit the Doodah Parade to ride horses, the barber from San Marino, in the Rose Parade.
Wow.
So Peter said, I'm so sick of it. He goes, they gave him his bill, and they would honestly, they even flew a helicopter over the parade to charge him another couple $1,000.
Wow.
So just try to drive the business out. And he said, I could just sell the damn thing for $1.50 as a joke. He was this close to me. I pulled $2 out like this. And he looked at my hand. He grabbed it and said, sold.
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, okay, give me my $2 back. And he goes, no, really, you just bought the parade.
Oh, my
I'm out. And he quit. And we took it over. That was 1995. And so they have an International Festival Association. They have a conference at Disneyland. They had a conference that year at Disneyland. And they invited us to be the keynote speaker and have him actually sign the deed over. So it was very embarrassing. You had the Tournament of Roses, the Orange Show Parade, the Macy's Day Parade, the Kentucky Derby people all sitting there. And there's these two kind of like, clowns from Pasadena exchanging, the deed for this like very, very local parade. That's how it happened. And we've just, our motto is we will hold the parade as long as people want to be in it.
And is there a confirmed date and location for this year's parade?
It's always on Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it'll be in Old Town again this year?
Yeah, and it was in East Pasadena. And it actually, there was just so much of a call, bring it back to old Pasadena. People were getting, upset. And they got really upset when we moved it because of the, cash registers and such that weren't ringing that day.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
It's the way you open up the holiday season with a few laughs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's one of my favorite Pasadena events for sure. I always look forward to it, and my daughter loves it as well.
Oh,
she
well,
loves to
cool.
go.
She may be the future queen.
So Tom, how can people get involved with and support the work of the Lightbringer Project?
Oh, and we always welcome volunteers and love people to find us and reach out. So you can find us at www.lightbringerproject.org, just like it's spelled light, L-I-G-H-T, bringer, B-R-I-N-G-E-R, project.org. And go in, you can see all of our projects. You can see our team. We've grown, we've kind of pretty well grown over the years now. We have about, a lot of artists in residence and a big core staff and everything like that. But just today, we were at a rally for John Lewis, his Day of Action in Memorial Park, and we asked artists to create murals that would honor him and honor and express themselves the way they wanted to express themselves, because they're all really involved in community and quality of life and issues we had beautiful art behind the speakers, and somebody got a hold of us from Avison School and said that middle banner that says, good trouble lives on, and the picture of John Lewis, is there any way we can borrow that for our school? So we took, just today, I came from there to here, and we hung it up in their classroom. It's at Avison, relocated because they were burnt down for the fire at Cleveland. And people reach out to us also to ask us to engage in projects that maybe need art or could use the benefit and the joy and hope of art. So, but volunteerism is always welcome. And also donations. We love donations so that we can grow, and you need that. But and we love people just to know us more, to come participate in our projects.
Well, Tom, thank you so much. It's so good to see you. You're a pillar of the community, and I really appreciate all the work you do, and many iconic Pasadena events that you run.
Well, and folks like you who enable us to tell our story are really important. And I also I'd like to salute Pasadena Media here as well, because we do internships where we take students from our academies and place them in creative venues, creative places, so that they can learn about the future jobs they might hold and aspire to. And this particular facility takes 15 interns from the school district. And as I was coming in, they all said, hey, Tom, because they see me in the classroom. But that's wonderful. This is wonderful. And it just enables us to keep telling our story, which is ultimately necessary.
Absolutely. So good to see you. Thank you, Tom.
It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Before we go, here is this month in Pasadena history. It was this month in 1945 when 2 black and white checkered V-2 rockets arrived in Pasadena. The V-2s were, of course, the world's first long-range guided ballistic missiles developed by the Nazis during World War II. The deadly and feared weapon was used by the Nazis to bomb London, Antwerp, and Liège. About 9,000 civilians and military personnel were killed by the V-2s, and about 12,000 laborers and concentration camp prisoners died during their forced participation in building the weapons in Germany. On July 6, 1945, the V-2 rockets, quote, rolled into the Pasadena train station on an open flatbed rail car, author George Pendle wrote in his book Strange Angel about early rocket scientist Jack Parsons, whose work helped lead to the founding of JPL. Quote, Allied forces had recently captured an underground factory in Germany's Harz Mountains, where the weapons had been manufactured by slave labor. They were now at Caltech to be studied. The 46-foot-long missiles had a vicious, sleek grace. These rockets held within them the promises of space and the future. The people of Pasadena thronged to see them, end quote. July 1945, the war wasn't even officially over yet. And of course, Caltech was a place where weapons research was happening at that time. Perhaps we'll ask Caltech President Dr. Thomas Rosenbaum about this when he comes on the show next month. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Pasadena Monthly. Tune in every 4th Friday of the month at 5 p.m. Learn more at pasadenamedia.org and justindouglaschapman.com. We'll see you next time.